R would make more sense.
Oh, hang on. I don't know. Hang on. I'll work this out.
I lost the video on the phone.
Hang on. I don't want setting. Hang on.
Well, we just saw your head, Nancy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It said, did I want to stop when I did it enough times? I believe I'm recording. I'm quite sure I'm recording.
Thank you, John.
No problem.
All right. Well, how is everybody? We doing okay?
Doing okay.
All right. I'm glad to be back.
I'm not getting any video. It says
Don't know.
my microphone's unmuted. My video is stopped.
Don't know. Maybe try logging in again. That might be a good answer.
You're really missing out. Manny's got an awesome, he just got a big red afro on.
Hi, Tarek. How you doing?
Good. He's bald.
Well, without further ado, I guess we should get started.
Yeah, I think we should get started. Am I unmuted now? Okay.
So, like to thank Barbara and John for making this
I'm
happen
back.
and giving me an opportunity to speak to the group again.
And I'm back.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you for telling me what to do.
So our topic tonight is apps. And before we begin, does anybody know what apps are? Feel free to chime in.
They're like programs.
Yeah, applications, short for application.
That's right. And anybody else?
They help you do things, to do things.
Okay. Well, Tarek is absolutely right. Applications manage data, and the word app or apps is an abbreviation for the word applications. So all those icons on your phone, those are different applications, and they all do something slightly different. I guess the way to understand this is to make an analogy. So pretend that your home is the phone and your stove and your refrigerator, your electrical appliances are the applications on your phone, and the electricity in your house is the data. So your stove, what it does, it takes electricity and turns it into heat, and then you use it for some purpose. Okay. Back on the phone, the exact same thing occurs conceptually. It takes data, like the mail app will take data, and it will transform that data into emails that you can see, you can edit, you can send or delete. That's kind of the way apps work. The entirety of an app's existence is dedicated to managing data, whether it's adding data or editing data or deleting data. And your phone as a whole, the iPhone or the iPad or whatever you're using, that's usually termed, the term for it is kind of an information appliance. Just like an electrical appliance in your home, this thing handles information completely and only information. So I hope that kind of clears up what apps do and why they're there and how they work. Any questions on that, or did I completely confuse you?
No, we got that, Manny. But I thought you could review a little bit about opening websites using Surrey before we get into the other apps.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we could go back 1 week and do some of that. So has anybody had any trouble doing that since we did it last week? We have any problems opening websites?
I did. You have to say
okay.
open website.
Okay. So remember, going back to last week, when you want to open a website with Siri, you're going to call to Siri and then you're going to say open website. It's very important that you include website in that text, okay? And then you give the name of the website. And I'm not talking about the URL. I'm talking about just the name of it, like Tucson Society of the Blind. It will then create you a list of matches for Tucson Society of the Blind. And the one you want should be right on top. You put your finger on it, double tap it, Safari opens, and you're on the site. That's how you do it with Siri. And that works for any site. Did that make sense?
Do you have to have opened it before?
I'm not sure I'm following you on that.
Or can I just say any website that I think is out there and I don't know that it's there?
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know.
you're not really telling it to open a particular website. What you're doing is you're telling it to search, and it finds websites matching your search.
Okay,
So the more detail you give Siri,
Yeah.
the closer you get to the thing you want. You know?
understood.
Siri,
Yeah.
Open Tucson Society of the Blind.
If you wanted to open a specific app like Tucson, would you have to say open or go to open Tucson Society of the Blind.com or?
Well, the verb open, if you have the verb open all by itself, that will open up an application on your phone. Okay.
Oh, it's for the application.
You have to put open website, so you tell it what to.
Tucson Society of the Blind.
So when that happens, Siri will return a list.
Your iPad first.
That's kind of what we were going over last week.
Here's what I
Safari. So I think, was there anything else from last week we wanted to review? Was that the only thing, or was there something else that we needed to look at from last week?
No, I'm ready to move on.
No,
Okay.
I'm ready to move on, but that was the only problem I had. If you don't say open website, it didn't do it. It tried to give me the Humane Society instead of Tucson.
Open
Society.
website.
That's
Tucson
right.
Society of the Blind.
So I was hoping to go over all of the usual suspects, the apps that you use, and maybe include Zoom in there in the mix. And hopefully we can learn a little bit tonight. So I guess I'll get started with the biggest app on the phone, the one you use all the time, which is the phone app. Okay. What the phone app does is it facilitates phone calls. And you speak into it, it digitizes your voice, sends it over to the person receiving your call. Their phone reverses the process and turns it back into sound. Okay. And within that app, you have a voicemail tab that allows you to check your voicemails. You also have contacts. You've got favorites, you got your call history, and then you've got a dialer. So it's very important on your phone to get your contacts well maintained, meaning you have them in there and you have a phone number for everybody. So you can use Siri to place the call. If you don't have a number, you can instruct the phone or instruct Siri to dial a number by giving her the number. You say, Siri, call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it'll actually do that. But it's better to have them in contacts so you can call them by name. And then in each of those contacts, you should have their name, their phone number, preferably an email address so you can do other things like send them emails or have a FaceTime call with them if you want to do it that way. So the way like I said, the way you call is you tell Siri to call somebody. If you wanted to check your voicemail, you would tell Siri to check my voicemail and it'll play all the new voicemails that you have. And of course, your contacts are not in control by Siri because that's more sensitive information. So you have to go in and actually go to the contact screen and do your updates there via gesture. So is there any questions on that on the phone?
Now, I say like, call, Carol's in my contacts. I say call Carol and it does not call. I don't forget what it says, but I always have problem. It used to do, but is there something I should try troubleshooting, or if it does
What
not?
I would do, Tark, is I would maybe change the name to something different. Because the name that you give it is only for you. It's not going to go out. So try another name, like give her another name just temporary, and then try that name, see if that works. So you can see if it's just the way you say it or the way it's listening, or spell it another way.
Yeah.
The Siri's not perfect. She
Uh-huh.
does a good job, but she's not perfect. So
Yeah.
I would
When I
play
ask-
this.
When I ask her to dial this number, she always gets it wrong. I don't know. So call it 429-566-78921. Close, but
What I would do,
He's-
Tart, is maybe when you do it, slow it down so the phone can understand it better. It's not that you don't speak well, it's that the phone doesn't listen well. So you need to do like a
I
little.
really have to. Yeah, I really have to enunciate it.
Yeah, there you go. So you say, call 1, 2, 3, 4. You give some space between each of the numbers so it knows
Yeah.
where the number begins and ends. So-
My phone, all I have to do is say, hey, Siri, and it calls whoever I want.
Yes, and that's the way it's supposed to work. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
Sometimes I have trouble when I wanted to call the nearest Pizza Hut, let's say.
Mhm.
That's not in your contacts. Well,
Yeah.
and then sometimes it'll look it up flawlessly. Or it'll give me one on the other side of town. And the next time it knows where I am. It's just a little inconsistent.
Is it designated to give you the closest location?
Yes, so when you're looking for Pizza Hut, let's say, it figures out where you're at, and then it does these kind of concentric circles around you, moving out, finding the nearest one. And wherever it finds the nearest one, that's the first one that appears on the list. Now,
But sometimes it gives me something that's in Oro Valley,
that's odd. It should give you something that's the closest to you. So that's a problem. That's probably not one we can fix or it didn't understand you properly. It's looking for something else that maybe it thinks you said. So
Manny, in my contacts, I know they're there because I've told Siri to call so-and-so. But when I go in and look at the actual contact person, the person's not there. Is there something wrong with my settings?
So repeat that one more time. I want to make sure I understand that completely because it broke up on me a little bit there. So
Okay.
yeah.
When I tell Siri to call, say, I'm going to call you, I'll say, hey, Siri, call Manny.
Mhm.
Okay, it will do that. But when I go to the actual contacts and look for your name, it's not there. But I know I put it in there. But but there are other ones in there besides, that one I'm missing. Is something wrong with my settings?
I would think it's something more in your contacts. I couldn't tell you on the phone right now. I'd have to look at your contacts to diagnose it. But
Manny, why don't you tell her how to do the search function? She could search for it and it might pop up.
oh, okay. So do you think in your contacts it's there, but you just can't find it, or?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's just not there. Other
Okay.
ones are in there.
So what you do to do this, I'm going to give you a step-by-step right now to do that. So
Okay.
the first thing you do is you tell Siri to open contacts. Now I'm going to do this on the phone with you real quick. So let me just do it here.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Hey Siri. Open contacts. So on the contact screen, you're going to use your left to right swipe with a single finger like this. I don't know if anybody can see me on the screen.
Left and right. Okay.
So you do that on the screen on your phone, and you're going to get to this thing called search. So I'm going to do that. If you listen carefully, you can hear me do it.
Contacts. Add button. Search field. Double tap. to
Okay.
Okay, right there, you would specify the contact you're looking for to see if they're in your guy. So you can
Okay.
double tap to open that up.
Search field. Search field is editing. Search. Character mode. Insertion point at start.
So when you hear search field or whatever is editing, that
Mhm.
means it's ready to accept characters or dictation. So if
Okay.
you're looking for me, you would do 2 fingers, double tap on the screen, and then dictation will kick in, and you say the name, and then you do that 2-finger double tap again, and then it will stop dictation and find the results. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to
Okay.
do everything. Manny.
Inserted Manny.
So what it does, it keeps you on the field that you just put Manny into, but you're going to have to do some more swipes from the left to the right, like this, to get to
Yeah.
the search results. So I'm going to do that, and you'll hear some of the
Okay.
search results.
Clear text. Button cancel. Button. Search results. Top name. Manny Celis. Me.
There it is. And anything that has Manny in it will appear. I've got a few here because I've got different numbers for different reasons, and they're all there. So that's
Okay.
how you find somebody in your list.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. I will try that. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions about the phone app, making, receiving calls, relative to contacts or voice?
Manny, I would say, right on the top there is where you add the contact.
Yeah, I know where that's at.
Okay, but I didn't know if
I had a
everybody knew it was
Oh.
there.
Does anybody else have an alphabetical index on their contacts?
First name and
normally-
then last name.
Yeah, normally when I search for people who are in my contacts, I always go through the alphabetical list down to the
Yes, you can do it that
I
way.
want.
Yes. And in settings, you can change the sort options. If you go to settings and then contacts, you can sort the list. I think even by last name first, or you can do the first name, then last name. So there's a few sort options that you can set up. I believe it's done by first name, then last name, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
No.
But you can change it.
You have a choice, but whichever way you want to do it.
That's right.
Is that in the context and the setting of contacts and settings?
That's right, Tark. Yes, you go to settings and then you go down to contacts, right in the front door settings. And inside settings, it's going to be one of those options in there.
Okay, good. So another one is when we're using voiceover and we're on a call, voiceover does not speak out loud enough. You have to put your ear up to the phone to hear voiceover. So I can't, if I'm on speakerphone, then voiceover will play loudly. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. You got to remember that there are volume levels for each aspect of your phone. And what I mean by that is when you're on a phone call, there's a volume level for that. There's another volume level for voiceover. There's another volume level for Siri. There's another volume level for music. Whenever voiceover is speaking and it's not loud enough, all you have to do is just grab that up volume button and just start tapping it until it gets to the level you like. And whatever is happening audibly, that's what gets the volume adjustment. So if voiceover is speaking and you adjust the volume, that will only affect the volume of voiceover. If your phone is ringing or if you're, no, not ringing, but let's say Siri's talking and you want to hear it louder, just press that button and Siri will be louder. Independently.
Will it retain it?
Yes.
Will
that's
it keep that for the next time?
Yes.
More or less, is that in settings and voiceover and then voiceover volume?
Yeah, there should be a volume control within settings, or it may be under sounds. I don't remember because I do it all by the buttons now. So I don't know if Apple has moved them around since the last time I looked, but it's in there, one of those two places.
All right, and that would change voiceover's volume permanently to that volume you want.
That's right. It'll put it where you want it, and it'll stay there until you change it again.
But is there a feature where when you're on a phone call, you can hear voiceover loud enough and you don't have to change like regularly? And when you're not on a voice or when you're not on?
Oh, yeah, so if you just have it, if you do like, you're on a screen somewhere and you just want to change voiceover's volume, do a 2-finger swipe down on your screen and have it start reading the screen. As it's reading, while it's doing it, adjust the volume where you like it, and voiceover's volume will go up or down depending on what you're doing. And then you just lock it into where you want. And then do a 2-finger touch on the screen to pause speech. I don't know if that made any sense, Tark. Did I make sense on that, or is it?
Sounds good, Manny.
Okay. So another application, if we're done with phone, I'm going to move on. So another application is mail. Okay. And what mail does, just like you all know really well, it manages all of your email, stuff coming in, stuff you send out, stuff you delete, stuff you move to folders. And if you want to create a new email, you just tell Siri to do that. You say, like if I were to send an email to Barbara, I would say, new email to Barbara McPherson. Siri will then ask me for the subject of the email. And then I would specify the subject. And then I put in the body, the message, specify the message. If I like everything, the subject and the message, she'll ask me if I want to send it. And then I'll say yes. I can say no, she won't send it. Or I can say something like change subject or add to the message body, add another paragraph, or change the message completely. There's a lot of little options you can do with your voice without even touching the phone. So that's kind of nice.
Manny,
So, okay.
you can also tell it new line, so it puts things on a different.
Yes, that's right. So you can specify punctuation, you can specify new lines, new paragraphs, do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can even do certain emojis like smiley, and that gets 2 other ones. I forget, frowny and another one. And it'll actually insert the emoji based on your voice. But I think there's only about 3 or 4 of those, even though there's a ton of emojis on the keyboard. So
Will it correct your misspelling?
it'll tell you what's misspelled, and then you can either, well, if you're dictating your message, you will never have a misspelled word. You may have the
Really?
wrong word, but it will never insert a misspelled word. So that's the cool thing about dictation. So you got to check those homonyms, those words that sound alike but are spelled different, like I threw the ball, but then I went through the maze, those kind of things. Got to be sure that your message has the correct one. It's pretty good at that.
Okay.
So if there's no questions about email, we can move to another app. I got a lot of apps that I kind of want to go through, and I'm just getting the low-hanging fruit, the ones we use the most, and then we'll get to some more exciting ones in a little bit. So messaging is just another kind of email kind of app. You can send text messages, and that's what they call them, text messages, and they're basically just text, and you can add pictures and things too. But typically, it's just a quick text. Like if I were to send Tark a text, I would say, Siri, new text message to Tark. And then it'll ask me what I want to say to Tark. And I would say, hello, Tark, how you doing? Ellipsis, new line, hope you're feeling okay, exclamation mark. And then just like the email, Siri will then ask me if I want to deliver it or if I want to cancel it or if I want to add to it. So, and your messages app, you can add, you can edit messages, conversations, you can delete them, just like you would in an email or the phone contacts. So the common theme here between all these apps is that they all manage data of some kind. The data that each app manages is slightly different from the other ones. That's why you have so many apps. So that's the kind of way that works. So let's see here.
May I?
Go ahead,
Can
sorry.
I say something?
Yeah.
You can also ask her to read it back to you. which is very helpful sometimes if you get interrupted or anything like that.
Yes, so when you're dictating something to Siri to send on an email or a message, she will always, well, anywhere you do dictation, it's going to tell you either I inserted this text, or Siri will just play it back for you if you're having her send an email message or a text message. So
How do you have Siri do punctuation numbers? Because every time I say a punctuation number, she would spell out the number or she'd punctuate.
well, I haven't had that experience, Tark, but I think what I do is I use simple punctuation. I'll use periods and then commas. And if I get crazy, I'll throw a semicolon or a colon in there. Ellipses.
Don't you love when she spells colon?
I haven't had that happen, but I've heard of that
Pretty
before.
poopy.
Oh, okay. So it should automatically do the punctuation, not spell out the punctuation.
So, Tarek, if you were going to email a message to me like, "Hey, Manny," ellipsis, "How are you?" question mark. How would you say that? Just let me hear what you would say, and I'll tell you.
Hey Manny, comma, how you doing? Question mark. But I don't.
Okay, it sounds like you're doing it right. So maybe there's something wrong with the phone, because it sounds like you have a separation between the words and the punctuation. There's a space, so it knows that that's a comma, and then of course at the end you put a question mark, so.
Yeah, like if I said I have one apple, she would spell one O-N-E, not number one.
I see. So I
He doesn't know 2, 2, and 2. She always gets them wrong.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Well, Tark, just like before, the last question you asked me about that, try to, when you dictate, enunciate clearly as possible to your phone. And I think you're going to see better results. Because I can understand it, but maybe
for anything, if I use dictation, I really only do about 3 words, and then I turn the dictation off and then read it to make sure she didn't do some insane insult or something like that. Or
you'd be surprised what I've seen out there.
Or some mumbo jumbo, another language.
Yeah. Yes.
She's hearing impaired. Mm.
Well, all right, let's go to another app then, if there's no more questions on that. Let me see here what we can learn.
Tuesday, February 16th.
So what about your calendar? That's a big one. Does anybody use the calendar on their phone?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I mostly have to use the alarm because calendar doesn't buzz or doesn't ring when I want it to. Or alarms, they sound out the alarm, and alarms you can only make an alarm for the day of the day. It doesn't let you put it like, make an alarm for Monday. It's it doesn't. But calendar, my big question is, on calendar, can you set an auditory alarm to come off and ring?
You
Or
mean like
reminder?
alert times when your event's coming up? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when the day at that time you set an alarm.
Absolutely. So look, I'll get right to that target, but let me just introduce the calendar real quick. So the calendar tracks events in your life, doctor's appointments, whatever, Zoom meetings, all that stuff. And just like the paper calendar, you can put events on days, and it'll make sure that you don't put overlapping events. It'll warn you. And then it'll also alert you when your events are coming up. So let's say that I make an appointment with a doctor for, I don't know, tomorrow. And I put it in there and I say, I tell Siri, new appointment titled Dr. Bob from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. It'll create an appointment tomorrow called Dr. Bob from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Now, if I have a 2-hour alert time in there, at 1 o'clock tomorrow, it'll tell me you got an appointment in 2 hours. You can also set up a second alert, which means if you have to do a Sunvan ride, let's say, you could set it up for the day before. Of course, that doesn't work in this little this little thing I'm doing here because I'm only doing it one day before. But if I have one further out, let's say it's 2 days out, okay, instead of tomorrow. So I set the appointment for 2 days out. I set my alert. Well, one of my alerts will be automatic, and I set mine for 2 hours, but you can set it for different intervals. And then my second alert could be whatever I want it to be. I could tell it, an hour, a day, or whatever I need. Your calendar is so great at keeping track of the current time that you'll never miss your appointment. It'll never mess up, unless your phone's off, of course, and then all bets are off. But that's what it does, and it's really good at that. And you can go in and do lots of nice stuff with your calendar, and it replaces that paper calendar that you always used before. And you can add events. You can edit events, and you can delete events all with your voice. You never have to open the app if you don't want to.
Where do the alerts show up?
They come up as notifications. So depending on how you have your notifications configured, typically they'll come up as these textual notifications saying, in 2 hours, appointment with Dr. Bob, or whatever. And that's what it does.
Can you set it to snooze?
So on calendar events, no. But when you're doing alarms, which is the other thing that we can talk about a little bit, that's when you can do the snoozing. And so yeah, we'll get to those alarm things. But alarms aren't really a part of calendars. That's more a part of the clock app. And we can brush into that if that's something important to you. We can look at that real quick if you like. So basically, that's what a calendar does. It's really no more complex than that. The complexity
But
is
Manny, for alerts, you have to have the notification app. It doesn't tell you verbally or.
Well, notifications aren't really an app. It's really more of a setting. So it's part of your settings. So when you go to settings and you go down to calendar, inside the settings for your calendar, there's a thing called default alert times. And they have 3 categories of alert times. I think one of them is for birthdays, which we're not talking about right now. And the one we are talking about is calendar events. And you click on the calendar events or tap on the calendar events, and you'll get a list of times that you can choose from. Anything from a few minutes down to a few days. There's about 10 or 15 of them. So any appointments that you put in, it's going to automatically use that setting, whatever it is, 2 hours or 2 days or a day, and let you know before the event happens that is coming up. And then within the calendar app itself, if you go in there, there's another field for a secondary alert that you can set a custom time for.
Well,
And then when your event passes, it's just like an old calendar. They just sit in there as old events, and you don't have to clean them up or anything like that. They just go away after whatever time, So that's basically the calendar app. And again, it works with calendar events, with events in your life that where you need to be somewhere at a certain time or at a certain particular time.
About calendar, when you set in a date, then would it delete automatically, or would you have to then delete it?
Well, I don't know of anybody you could delete it, but I would just let it pass into history and be done with it. It doesn't take up very much space at all, just a few little bit of text. It really just a very small placeholder. And it's there for history too, if you need to go back. But you could delete or cancel the event if you wanted to.
Okay.
But there's no problem leaving it there. Let me put it that way.
Is there a setting that says, delete this and then that within, 6 months or a week or a day?
No, that's a real good question, and I don't have an answer for you. But I will, after this meeting, anything that I have unresolved like this, I will put in the notes with an answer. I don't think there is, but I don't want to commit to that and then be wrong. So
What was the question?
it's about deleting old events that have passed automatically after a certain period of time.
I thought they just went away. They don't repeat from year to year.
That's what I thought too. I think once you pass the month, the whole month just kind of goes away. I mean, you could look back and say, did I have an appointment with Dr. Bob last June? And it could find it, I guess. But I'd have to go check that out to be sure. Okay. So Tark, for your question about your alarms, when you set up an alarm in your, it's using the clock app. So you would tell Siri to set an alarm for 7:30. And when you do that, your phone will wake you up at 7:30, and you'll get the snooze option right there.
Yeah.
So that you don't do that on calendars, you do that with alarms. That's the difference. And of course, you can set up a recurring, you get up a certain time every week on a certain day. You can set your alarms for those times too. So, okay, let's get, if there's nothing more with that, I'd like to get to one that's kind of fun. Well, no, let me do one more before the fun one. There's another one where you can record your voice like a memo. So if you want to remind yourself of something, but you don't want to type it all in, and you don't want to, you want to just listen to it, they have this thing on the phone called voice memos. And what you do is you just tell Siri to open voice memos, and there's a record button. You record it, and then it stores it in a list, and you can peruse that list just like you do any other list on your phone. And then you can play it, delete it, fast forward, rewind, all that stuff. And it's a good thing for keeping voice memos. I use it all the time with my students when I have to do homework, get an answer for something, then I'll take a little voice memo, and at the end of the day, I'll go through them, and I will, do what I have to do. So it's just another way of using information to help you remember things.
Manny, can you demo that and then also show them how they can save it with a text?
Oh, sure. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get my phone out here. Give it a second.
Helen.
So what there's two ways to do it. Huh? There's a few ways to do this. So I'm gonna use Siri because that's the easiest way. So I'm gonna say, hey Siri, open voice memos.
Voice memos.
Okay, so voice memos is opened, and it puts focus right on the record button. So if I want to record something, I would just double tap the screen.
That's what I thought.
Memos.
And I'm going to do that now.
Back button.
Oops,
All recordings. 29. Button.
hang on a second.
All
Hey
recordings.
Siri, open voice memos.
Record.
Okay, so it should say record button. So, and then you double tap on the record button. Hello, this is a test. If you can hear this, you're too close. Now, if I go back up and I play that, there's a play button in the middle of the screen, and you can use your finger to explore by touch, or you can swipe to it with a single finger. I'm going to explore by touch. So I'm going to go up.
EMP. New recording. Yesterday. Play. Button.
So I'm going to play.
Actions available.
Hello, this is a test. If you can hear this, you're too close. That's a handsome guy. Okay. All right. This is a test. Oops.
This is a
And
test.
so if I wanted to name that, what it does, it puts the date and the location that you recorded it as a default name. But if I wanted to change it, there's a field of like a tag you can go to, and you can dictate a name in there for this recording. So if I wanted to name that, what it does.
What do you mean? It names as location. What location does it use?
So the Voice Memos app uses your GPS, and puts in the address where you recorded the voice memo. So when I'm at if I'm here, it has my address. Now I'm going to see what the title is on this one. Let me just go to it.
And it will record for hours and hours. Is there a limit to the time it records? Or how?
Not that I know of. I think you can have it go and go and go.
Yeah.
One thing that you want to be aware of, though, is that it's not serious, but a voice recording takes up a lot more space than simple text. So there is a setting that lowers the quality a little bit, but it doesn't make it sound bad, and it uses up a lot less space than the raw, full fidelity recording. And that's what I have mine set to, and it works just fine. So that's in settings, and then voice memos, and then there's a quality thing. The higher the quality, the bigger the file. The lower the quality, the smaller the file.
But is it saving it to the cloud or to your phone?
It saves it to your phone. I
Is
don't
there
think
any-
it puts these on the cloud. I'd have to check that. I don't think it does, but I'd have to check that to be sure.
Since the recording, say if I'm in a class or something, and it's probably the distance to get a recording, you have to be maybe 10 feet or closer from the person. Is there like a microphone you can attach to the phone to pick up sound?
Yeah, they do. They do. You would need what's called a cardioid directional microphone, and you would point it towards the sound source. And what it does is it takes the sounds that are coming from the sides of the mic, and it lessens those, and it increases the ones right in front. And that way you get a clearer recording of somebody further away.
Is this a big hunkin' microphone? Or is this just a little?
Not necessarily. Shure makes one that a lot of people use. That comes with a stand and everything, but you get what you pay for. So if you pay a lot of money for a mic, you're going to get a real good mic that can pick up far away. A cheaper one will, of course, work not as well. So if you'd like, I can send you some information on a mic that I found that I'm playing with. Recently I've been messing around with it, and it seems to work really well.
Yes, please.
Okay,
What's the
it's made by
price range?
Shure Company, and they're big on microphones and things like that.
Yeah,
What
we
it-
gotta
what it-
get back to our voice memos here.
Sure.
Would it also work for the Victor recorder, that mic?
I don't think so. I think it's made for the iPhone.
Okay.
So
If you-
go ahead.
If you saved it to the iCloud, how do you get it back out of the iCloud, back into your iPhone?
Well, I wouldn't think of iCloud as a separate storage area. iCloud's purpose is to back up the stuff on your phone. And now that I'm rethinking this, I think it does back them up automatically. I'd have to go verify that to be sure.
Okay.
But your phone should automatically send those up, when it can.
Okay.
So back to just finishing up the voice memos real quick. The title that it gave mine is up here. Let me put my finger on it. Get up there.
721 P. Arbor Point PL. Text field.
So Arbor Point PL. That's my address, sort of, kind of, and that's what it named it. So if I want to give it another name, I just double tap on that location it threw in there. So I'm going to do that now to open it.
Performed action. Favorite.
Wait.
Arbor Point PL. Performed action. Unfavorite. Arbor Point edit. Button.
Maybe I should edit it first.
Arbor Point PL. 7:21 p.m. Duration. 6 seconds. Button. Voice memo. All recordings. All recordings.
Anyway, so what you do is you get into the title. It's a text field, it's a little text field, and you dictate the name, and then it saves it under that name instead of the name it gave it, which is Arbor Point PL, which is kind of where I live. And when I'm over at Barbara's house doing voice memos, it puts her address in on the voice memos itself.
All right, and then show us how to delete it.
Okay. So like any other list in your phone, when you get on a list item,
New recording.
Let's see.
Yesterday, information, PowerPoint PL, 7:21 p.m.
So there's my ER. Okay, and I want to delete that. So I put focus on my ER report, which is this one, and then I'll swipe up until I find the delete option. Let's see if it can,
Folder, delete,
right there, delete, and then you double tap.
performed action, delete, new recording.
Now it takes it and puts it into a deleted item folder, but then it'll purge it ultimately. I don't know how long it takes. It's sitting in my deleted items folder now. And that's how you manage your voice memo data. Okay. So has anybody ever used the Seeing AI app?
I do.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've used it.
Yes, I have.
I think that app is probably one of the most important apps outside of that I've talked about, because it allows your phone to use the camera to help you see the world. And that includes reading text or looking at product labels or currency, whatnot, colors. And if you don't have that on your phone, you should get that one. And there's another one called Super Sense, which is kind of like it. Does the same kind of thing, but might do some things a little better. These are invaluable tools if you're out shopping or you're looking at your mail, your paper mail, or you need to read something and you can't see it. This thing will help you with that, and it's really handy.
That's Super Sense.
It's called Super Sense. Barbara turned me on to that a few weeks ago, and I kind of like it. They're still developing it, but it seems to do really well with text. Even better than Seeing AI in some instances. So those are really two good apps that I would definitely play around with if you're having trouble reading something, or you're in a restaurant, can't read a menu, something like that. That really helps a lot.
Manny, can you demo the Super Sense? Do you have
I give it a shot. Yeah, let me see if I got something here with print
or
on
a
it.
document that it could read, because it's really neat how it tells you where to put the camera.
Yeah. Let me find something here to read. Hang on a second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a piece of paper.
I really like that Super Sense, because in Seeing AI, you have to put it in a channel. Like if you want to read a barcode, or if you want to do a document, Super Sense knows what it is. So if you put a can in front of it, it immediately starts talking and telling you what's in the can. And all you have to do is slowly rotate it. And the nice thing about documents, it'll tell you where to put the phone. It'll say, move it to the left, move it to the right, move it towards you. And then when it's ready, you go, dee-dee-dee-dee, and then it reads the whole thing to you. It's really neat. And you can vary the speaking rate. You can make it go slower or faster, whatever you like.
So Super
All right.
Sense doesn't have channels?
Super Sense what?
Doesn't have channels?
No channels.
Advertisement, Super Sense.
No channels.
Oh.
And it is free.
In-app purchasing, loading.
Well, I
We're
found
just
that.
using the free stuff. They do have a premium package that they will try to sell you, but the free stuff is just great.
Cancel.
So for those of you who can see me,
0 stars.
I got some document here. You can see that. I'm going to read this text up here. I have no idea what it says, but I know it's from CenturyLink, so it's probably some, I don't know what. We'll find out. So hopefully it's nothing revealing. So,
Hey, you
so the way
Bill.
you do it
Utilities, 0 stars.
is
No
you
reading.
tell Siri to open.
Utilities, 0 stars. No readings.
So,
Artwork.
hey Siri,
Plus, page attachment.
open SuperSense.
From all SuperSense centers over single app and web portal, the application shows levels retrieved by SuperSense. Search. Back search. Your child has acquired. In-app purchases. Button. Cancel. Coding. Alert. Apps.
Okay.
Secure text.
So here's the paper, right?
5.
And I'm going to see if it, on the camera, if you can see me doing it. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Here we go.
Habits. Sierra E. Your statement. CenturyLink. Keeping you connected. CenturyLink. Keeping you connected. CenturyLink.
What's it say? I can't hear it.
It's trying to read it, but I'm moving it and it keeps resetting. But the thing is, if you have it on a stable surface on a table and you have it back far enough so it can read all of the text, it'll actually read it real
Alert
nice.
from software update.
So I think that'll be a nice app to add to your repertoire. It's really handy. And now there's no channels to it, like Barbara was saying, because what it tries to do, it tries to figure out what it's looking at and then make a determination of how to read it. And Barb and I have been experimenting with it, and we've had mixed results. It seems like it does real good on text, but not so good on objects. So that's kind of where that's at. But that, and with seeing AI as well, you could get around your pretty good with low vision or no vision. You can go to a store and look at products, and you don't need someone to pick them out for you. Of course, it takes a little
Manny,
work.
have you got a can there so you can show
Yeah,
him
let me
seeing
try that.
AI?
I should have prepared for this. Let me go get a can out of my pantry. Hang on just a second.
And bring
Barbara.
some money too.
What was the name of that app again, please?
Super Sense.
It's called Super Sense. SENSE.
Tap to open.
The
Okay.
other one is Seeing AI.
And the other one is called Seeing AI.
I have that one. That's good. Okay.
Edit mode.
Super. Okay.
We lost them.
He went to the store.
One other way that you could do it if you didn't use one of these apps is there's an app called Be My Eyes. How many people have used that one?
I
Oh,
have.
used it.
Annie,
Okay,
Me
and
and
that's a wonderful app. It's also a free app, and they have volunteers all over the world that
Mhm.
will help you out. And you can use it for all kinds of things. They can even tell you what's on your computer. They can tell you if you're matching. So that's another app that we really like called Be My Eyes.
But to use discretion because you don't know who you're dealing with.
Well, true. But you're not on there that long. You usually have like, I've lost something, or
Well, you wouldn't want to have them read a bank statement or any things like that.
no, not anything like that. No.
They'd cry if they read mine.
And then the
Okay, I'm
other
back.
app, it's called Ira, AIRA, Ira. And that one is also free if you're under 5 minutes. And they have what they call visual interpreters. And they will also do the same thing. And also, if you have the Ira app, you can use it for free in Target or Walmart.
Mm.
At up to 30 minutes if you need it in either of those stores. So that's kind of neat. So if you got stuck at a Walmart and you didn't get the help you needed, you could bring up your Ira app and they would help you in the store.
Okay, I'm back. I got some things to recognize. So,
All right.
so I have in my hand, I think this is $5, which represents my life savings. So let me see.
That much? Oh, good.
He has more
So
than I
I'm
do.
gonna hold it in front of the camera and try to recognize it with this app. So this is Seeing AI, okay? So I'm gonna put it right over it like this.
$5
Did you hear that?
$5.
$5, okay?
Okay, but that you have to be in the currency.
Correct. Seeing AI
So
requires.
tell them how to get to currency.
So at the bottom of the app, I don't know if you can see here. Let me just, for those of you who can see, at the bottom there's a bar, okay, down here. And if you're on the bar, you can just swipe up or down.
Adjustable. C. Preview.
There's a scene preview,
Currency.
currency,
Person.
person,
Product.
product,
Document.
document. So if you're in a store and you want to recognize a product,
Product.
okay, and there's a bunch of cans in front of you, you have no idea what they say. So here's a can of something. I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure. So what you do is use your eyeballs or whatever you've got vision-wise, and you can orient the UPC label there, to the front, or you can just rotate it until it recognizes it. So I'm going to do it quickly since we're in this meeting. And there's the UPC label right there, if you can see that. I'm going to put the phone in front of it and see if it can determine what it is.
I also have heard that you can scan the barcode and then go into more and it'll tell you recipes for it.
That's right. So it didn't recognize it. Let me try it again, because maybe I didn't do it right, because sometimes it gives you a false positive here. So let me see if I can do it again here.
Great value tomato sauce.
Great value tomato sauce. That's what it said. And like Tark said, if there's more info, it'll be there. Let's see.
Share. Button. More info. Button. Play. Button. Back. Button.
Oops.
Great value tomato sauce. Heading level 2. Bundle and save. Get more and spend less when you buy these items together. See individual items for a complete description.
So anyway, that's what the more is on this one. And that's dependent on whoever is putting this stuff into the database. So that's what these other apps that work with data, this is just visual data it's working with. It's taking text and turning it into speech. It's recognizing text, turning it into speech so it can read for you. It's taking dollar bills or currency and telling you what denomination they are, and it's recognizing products. It also can recognize whole pages of text and actually read the whole page to you. And these are real handy for mail or for grocery shopping or whatever you're doing. Or you're going to pay for your groceries, you don't know if you're going to pay cash, which is unheard of nowadays. But if you have cash, you can figure out how many bills you have and what they are before you give it to the person. So any questions on Seeing AI or SuperSense? No questions? Okay.
One thing you can mention on Seeing AI, I have what's called a cell phone holder. And it only cost me $10. And it was a lot easier to put the cell phone in the cell phone holder, because then I didn't have to use two hands and then just hold the can behind it.
Yeah, so
I have one also. I think we have the same thing, Barbara,
Right.
but it
right.
holds it steady and I can space it behind. Holds
Where
the
did you
phone
get it?
steady. Amazon.
And if I Google go to Amazon.
Cell phone holder. The brand I have is LAMICOTT, and it has a couple of different sizes. One will fit the iPhone and one will fit the iPad.
I'm writing that down.
Barbara, don't you use your A lady's friend to help with that? That new, that great big, it's like
The
an
Echo
iPad.
Show. The Echo Show.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Echo Show is wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be another way, not using the iPhone, but if you buy the Echo Show, and it has to be a certain model, you can hold the item. You ask the A lady, you say, "What is in my hand?" And then it goes beep 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 beep, and then you move it around, and then when it's ready, it takes a picture.
Yeah, and it
then
tells you.
It has more details. It says more details, and then it reads the back of the can as well.
Yeah, I love my Echo Show. It's
Which
so
model
easy
do
to
you
use.
have?
It's I believe it's the 5.
5 is the only one I think that has that feature on it. It's called Show and Tell.
Yeah, Show and
I'm
Tell.
not sure
5.
about that, but yeah, I think it's not the 5 or the 8, Barbara, if I'm not mistaken. It's another one with a little bit bigger screen, and I forget the model. And it runs about $200, put it that way.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Well, mine was much cheaper. Mine was what? I don't remember how much we paid for it, but we didn't pay that much.
You can get it on sale. You have to watch.
I think we paid around $100, wasn't it? Something like that.
That's a
Yeah.
good deal.
We got it on sale.
But that won't read printed text, will it, and a paper?
I don't know. I never tried it.
I've seen it read text, so it should read it off a piece of paper too. I don't see why it wouldn't. Because it reads labels and it reads text on labels.
I've never been able to get it to read anything except labels.
Okay, okay.
And when we put up the money, it said, "Oh, dog food."
Oh,
So
Oh
no,
my.
the answer to that is only does labels.
Oh my. Okay.
so there are stands that you can get, a variety of different kind of stands. But what the stands do is they keep the phone steady, so it's not moving around, because
Yeah.
moving it around even a little bit kind of throws it off some. And if you put it on a stand, whether it's a small stand or a big stand, like a scan jig for documents or whatever it is, then you get a lot better result from its reading of text or an object right in front of it. Because you have to place it within the camera's focusable zone. You know, if you put it too close, it's going to be blurry. It can't read it. Too far away, then it can't read it either. There's like a magic spot, maybe about a foot away from it, and the camera's got to be oriented right on it, and that's where it can really do good reading. So it turns you into a kind of a cameraman, but once you get used to it, it's not that bad. So okay, let me see here. What else we got here?
7:44 p.m.
You're gonna go to notes?
Yes, notes. That's a good one. Okay. That was one of the ones I was planning to do anyway. So your notes app. So do you remember the days when you put, you know, a sticky note on your refrigerator with some text on it? You know, you wrote something, or you put a shopping list on your refrigerator. Well, that's what the Notes app kind of does for you. It allows you to take notes that you can look at later, or you can create lists that, and they're kind of like checklists. So you would create a checklist, and then they're currently, when you create them, they're incomplete, and then you can mark them as complete.
Screen name.
And that's kind of what it does. It digitizes that thing for you. So if you create a checklist of grocery items, let's say, and you put a few items on there, as you're putting them in the cart, you can tell Siri to check those off, and your list becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. And the other side of the Notes app is where you can just make just regular notes, like on a sticky kind of thing. But of course, you got a lot more space to do it. And that's what it does. It just manages notes, new notes, edit notes, delete notes, new list, edit list, delete list. And really very handy. And that's under the Notes app. You would tell Siri to open Notes, and then you would
Yeah.
go in there.
Can you demo that, please?
Sure. So what do we want to look at first in Notes? We want to just do a note, or do we want to do a list?
Either one.
Okay. All right. So
7:46 p.m.
if you're going to do a note
3:60.
via your voice, okay, doing it with Siri, I believe you can instruct her to create a new node. So you could say, "Hey Siri, hey Siri, new note.
What you wanted to say?
Hey, comma, this is a new note, and I hope it's everything that I need it to be, period."
Okay, I created a note. Hey, this is a new node and I hope it's everything that I needed to. It says, hey, this is a new node and I hope it's everything that I need it to be.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I don't know what it did first time there. So it created the new note. Now, if I go in the Notes app, I can actually see it. I was just trying to show you a way to do it that way. So we're gonna go into Notes using gestures. So if you follow along, there's a
Tuesday.
There's a Notes app on your screen. You can just tell Siri to open it. So you go, "Hey Siri, open notes.
Notes. Edit. Button.
So the very first screen that comes up is this one, and it's the
Folders.
folders, because you can put notes in different folders. So let's go see what folders we have already.
Search. Search. Dictate. Button. iCloud. Heading. Notes. 40 notes.
So there's some notes locally, 40. Let's go in there.
Hey, this is a new note and I hope it's everything that I needed to. Modify 746.
That's the one I just put in there.
Actions available. Hey, this is a new note and I hope it's everything that I needed to. Modify 746.
That might be speaking too fast. I'm sorry, but it's what I said.
Select a custom action.
How do you use Siri to add to a note that's already created?
Okay, so let's try that out. Let's see.
Hey, this is a new note and I hope it's.
So, hey Siri. Edit note.
I found a few options. Which note do you want to edit? Hey, this is a new note and I hope it's everything that I needed to. Hey, this is a test of the notes application. What do you think? New note, Maggie subscriptions and passwords.
Be quiet.
Maggie Hagen CC, CenturyLink.
Let's give me a list.
CenturyLink mode, talking book library, CJAWS 2020 on the desktop.
Can you title the notes? I guess would that be the first line or something? That is.
So I probably need to pass
Yes.
it a title. So I'm going to say, let's see, what was that title again? Hey, this is a new note.
Hey, this is a new note.
Okay. So, hey Siri, edit note. Hey, this is a new note.
I found a few options. Which
Oh,
note do you want to edit?
Hey, this is a new note and
so we'll go in there.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
You can tell that I haven't done this that much.
February 16th.
But on a successful note that you open, okay, it's going to allow you to do what's called an add. You can add to it, or you can change the note that's there. What was that? I didn't catch that.
John.
So Siri has a way of doing it. I'm just not good at specifying which title, and I have to wade through all the notes that I have. But if I do it in the app without doing it with Siri, let me go back. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Open notes.
Notes. Hey, this is a new note and I hope it's everything I needed to. February 16th, 2021 at 7:46 p.m.
So
That I needed.
the note is right here, and if I want to
Checklist.
edit it, I would double tap.
Toolbar. Checklist. Button. Note. Text field. Is editing. Hey, this is a new note and I hope it's everything. Line. Checklist button. Incomplete. Line. Insertion point between B and at the 72nd position.
So it's telling you where you're at, and you have an option to extend the note, add more text. You can even put a checklist within the note if you want to. There's a lot of things, and you have to play with it to really get good at it. I keep notes on my phone just as stuff that I just, like a catch-all. I really don't use it. So that's kind of how notes work. You can add them in, you can modify them, you can dictate stuff that's new into them. You can create these lists if you want to. Do all kinds of crazy stuff with notes. And they're there until you delete them. So if I want to delete this note, let's say,
Hey, this is a done button. Notes. That button. Notes. Hey, this is a new note and I.
so hey, this is a new note. If I swipe
It's
up,
everything that I need. Drag item. Send a copy. Share mode. Move note.
Hmm.
Delete note.
you delete note.
Good note. Activate.
There's a lot of things you can do.
Good note. Delete note.
And then that note
Suggested
gets
notes
deleted.
application. What do you?
But it's better when you're doing notes. It sounds like Siri would be a great way to do it. But when you start talking a lot of text, then Siri is not as good. It's good at creating notes, but it's not really good at modifying notes. You can add new stuff into it, but you can't really modify what's there with Siri. You can change it, redo it all, but you can't go in and just change little bits of it. And that's kind of why I went towards the app more for what Tark was talking about instead of trying to do it with Siri. So Siri has its limitations, by the way. It's not the perfect thing. And it doesn't always let you edit everything on your phone. Okay, so list.
Now we need a shopping list.
Okay, so if now, like I said, for creating a new node or creating list, it's really good at that. Siri, using Siri to do it. So I'm gonna do that. So hey Siri, new list titled shopping list.
You'll have to continue in Target.
What?
What?
All right, I don't know what that is. Let's try that again. Hey Siri, new checklist called shopping list.
There are no reminders about shopping list.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. Let me try it again. Hey Siri, create new list called shopping list.
Done. And what do you want to add to the list?
Apples, bananas.
All right. I've
Oh.
added it to your shopping list.
Anyway, what you can do is you can dictate each item, but it's not forgiving as far as how much space you put between them. I took too long to think about it.
Tuesday.
Is that in notes or is that at shopping list and app? Or
It's
list?
actually reminders. They just stick it under notes because it's convenient to put it there. But what you're doing with a list, with any list that has a complete or incomplete, which is what this is doing, it creates a reminder. So if I tell Siri right now, and that's a good question, by the way. Hey Siri, do I have any reminders?
There's one reminder. Apples.
See, the thing I just created.
Apples.
So, typically for a checklist,
Calendar. Tuesday, February
hold
16th.
on. It'll have the name of the checklist, which it didn't put in because I used the wrong noun. I think I'm supposed to say create new checklist titled grocery list or shopping list. And then it'll create something called shopping list. And then I can put in all of the little things below it, one at a time. Then when I say, do I have any reminders? It'll say, yeah, shopping list. And then you could look at the shopping list and see what items are still pending and mark them as complete or leave them incomplete. So a list is really a set of reminders for you. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's the way they designed it. So,
Hey, Manny.
yes.
I use notes a lot. This is Patty. And
Hey.
I share my notes. If I create a note, I could share it with another person, or I could share it with my email.
Yes.
Don't know
that's
if
good.
people know that.
Yeah, so she's right. What you can do is you can create a list, and let's say that both of you are going to go shopping. Let's say you create a list of 10 items and you want to attack the store with 2 people, let's say. Well, you both can, Patty could share the list with you. You go in the store, and then as you find stuff, you can start completing the list. Patty will immediately know that you found the item, and you can finish your shopping that way, or you can just make a list and share it with somebody else just so they can know what you want or what you're looking for. It's a nice way electronically to make a quick list and share it, So.
You could even be at home and share your shopping list, right?
That's
Somebody's
right.
Shopping, right?
It's good if your husband's at the store and you're at home and you're thinking of, you forgot something else. You just add it.
Yeah, and it'll put it right there, and both of you will see it, or whoever it's shared with will see the list exactly the same way.
Cool. That's really nice.
Yeah. You'd be surprised what you can share from your phone. You can share just about anything that way with other people. And,
Can you take it back though? If you don't want it, if you shared it by mistake?
yeah, you can unshare it. Yeah. Because you own the list. The person who created a list owns it. You can stop sharing the list, and of course the other person will no longer be able to see the list.
Okay.
All you're doing is you're creating a list on your device, your phone, and you're allowing someone else to look at that one list only on your phone. So they will see it, and if you give them, usually they have the ability to edit your list with you, so they can check things off and say, yeah, we got that, that's complete, or they can change the name of something, But you share it with somebody you trust, obviously, if the list is important to you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. All right, so it's about 8 o'clock. I don't know if we want to go to Q&A or do we want to continue on with some more apps. I can dig up some more apps while we're here.
Why don't we go to podcast?
Podcast, very good, Barbara.
Because
Very good.
we listen to Eyes on Success, and maybe you can show them how to add that to their podcast so they could listen to that.
What was that podcast again? So what was it again?
Eyes on Success.
Okay, well, so your podcast,
58 p.m.
let's bring this up.
Calendar.
For those of you who can see, the podcast
Podcasts.
is that little guy that's got the square around it. I don't know if you can see it from there, if it's in focus. It's a little purple icon. It's called podcast. So what podcasts are, they're really audio recordings that are available to you on the internet. So someone will record themselves or record an interview. They'll post it they call them podcasts, okay? And then you can subscribe to their channel, and then you'll get all the new podcasts that they record automatically. You can have access to them. What Barbara was talking about is there are podcasts for everything, including the blind community. So what you do is in the podcast app, you can look for podcast by name and find something. And then if you like it, you can then subscribe to that podcast. And then any podcasts that they released themselves, recording, so to speak, you'll have access to listen to them. And then they're just audio recordings. There's just no video. It's just all audio, from what I remember. So let me see here. So let's go into podcasts, and I'll explain to you what's going on.
7:59 p.m.
Okay.
Tuesday.
I go to a podcast called Blind Abilities, and that's very helpful.
Yes. And again, it's like an audio file that just plays, kind of like the Bard books that you download if you're on Bard. They're audio only. There are no text. It's just all sounds. So, hey Siri, open podcasts.
Podcasts. Listen now. Heading.
All right. So the podcast app, it's divided. It's just like any other app. Okay. At the bottom, you have these navigation tabs. So the very first one is called Listen Now.
Tab bar. Selected. Listen now.
Okay.
Tab 1 of 4.
That has all of the guys that you subscribe to and their latest episodes on that screen. Okay. If you want to go get new episodes, new podcasts, you can either go to the browse.
Browse. Tab 2 of 4.
And it'll show you things that I think you might like. I rarely use browse. I just go to search. And then of course there's a library tab, which is the third one.
Library. Tab 3 of 4.
Those are the things you've listened to. And if you want to re-listen to it, you can go in and listen to them again. And they're listed by the podcast name, and then of course the date that they were released. And of course the last tab is search.
Search. Tab 4 of
Now in search, you can put in a search argument, it'll find it. Now, Barbara, I still didn't get that name from you. I can't hear you very well. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so it's eyes, like your eyes, EYES,
Uh-huh.
on success.
Eyes on success. Okay. So we're going to look for Barbara's, okay, for me, and I'm going to subscribe to it. So I'm on the very last tab on the right. It's called search. It'll sound like this in VoiceOver.
Selected. Search. Tab 4 of 4.
Okay. Then you go up using your finger. You can drag it up to the text box where you can search. So I'm going to do that now. So going up.
All podcasts. Search field.
Search field. Okay. So you double tap any search field you get to, you got to double tap to open it up for editing. So double tap.
Search field. Search field is editing. All podcasts. Character mode. Insertion point.
Now I'm going to dictate eyes on success in there using the 2-finger double tap. Then I say it and 2-finger double tap again to end dictation. So eyes on success.
Inserted eyes on success.
So then we can look at the search results. I don't know what we got here, but then I'll use a single finger left to right swipe on the screen to do that.
Clear text. Cancel. Button selected. All podcast. Your library. Eyes on success with host Peter and Nancy Torpy. Button.
I assume that's it. So you double tap on that one.
Eyes on success with host Peter and Nancy Torpy. Search field.
Eyes on success with Peter and Nancy Torby. That's what it
That's
says.
it.
So now it brings it up. It has a picture. Okay. And what I want to do now is I want to get down to where the picture is. So I do a left to right swipe till I get to it.
Cancel. Button. Selected. All podcasts. Your library. Button. Shows. Heading. Eyes on success with host Peter and Nancy Torpy. Eyes on success with host Peter and Nancy Torpy. Button.
Okay, the button. So I do double tap on that.
Artwork. Image.
And then the next screen, you have a subscribe button. So if I go down and look for it,
5-star artwork. Subscribe. Button.
subscribe.
Actions
If
available.
I double tap that, I will then start receiving podcasts from these guys. And you can listen to all you want. And it's really the long and short of podcasts. And when you get tired of it or you're done, you can go to your library and remove them, or unsubscribe to them and remove them from your library.
Meg, one thing I've heard and I've had is that podcasts take up a lot of memory on your phone.
Yeah. So that's a good point, Tark. So if you have a phone that's low on memory, so most of your modern iPhones are 64 gigs and up, but if you've got an older one like a 6 or a 7 maybe, you may only have 32 or even 16 gigs. And when you start downloading these things, they'll start adding up and they'll take up more space. Your iPhone will tell you when you're low on space though. It'll warn you way before you're out. But I would suggest if you got a low space situation and you get the warning, removing some old podcasts from your library, you can delete episodes you've listened to because it doesn't really stream them. Well, it kind of streams them. When you're listening to it, it streams it, but it also puts it on your device so you can get to it later. So there is a little cleanup with podcasts too. So just so you know that. So if you want to subscribe to a podcast, you do what I did. You search, you find it, you click on the button that says the podcast name, and then you tap on subscribe. And again, the whole podcast app will then know that you want to listen to new episodes of that. And I believe you can even go back and look at old episodes. I haven't done that much, but I think
Yes,
there's
you can. Yes,
You can. Okay, yeah. So that gives you like a lot of ways to get information out there on things that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be positive. It doesn't have to be blind stuff. It could be, or it could be anything. It could be anything that you're interested in. Believe me, there's thousands and thousands of podcasts. And I think most of them or all of them are typically free. I think there's some that cost, but I'm too cheap to buy them. So.
Okay, so how do you delete a subscription?
Okay, so I'm going to subscribe to this now because we know how we get to subscription. And then I'm going to go back and delete it. Okay, so I'm going to hit subscribe.
Subscribe button. Subscribe. Full speech. Search. Back button.
So now I'm subscribed to this one, Eyes on Success. Now, if I want to remove Eyes on Success, I have to go to my library tab on the bottom. Remember those tabs we were just talking about? There's one called Library.
Tab bar. Library.
You go there,
3 of 4.
and then there's going to be an area called Shows. So I'm going to use my finger and find it real quick.
Library. That shows. Button.
Shows. It's like a blue, well, not a blue button, but it's a button all by itself called Shows. So we do that.
Shows. Eyes on Success with host Peter and Nancy Torpy. 1 episode. Button. Actions available. Eyes on Success with
So
host
there's
Peter
Eyes on
and Nancy Torpy.
Success. I just subscribed to it. It's right there. If I double tap on it, well, let me see.
Play. Activate. Play. Activate.
So we're gonna
Default.
tap in there.
Eyes on success with host Peter and Nancy Torpy. Subscribe.
Now, once I tap on that one that I want to delete, I have to find this thing called more, because that's where it's hiding out, the delete option. So if I go left to right on the screen, because I'm not sure where it's at, so I gotta interrogate the screen to find out where this thing is. So let me keep going.
Artwork. Image. Eyes on success with host play. 2100. Eyes on success with host play. More button.
More button. You do that. And then there's going to be a list that comes up on the bottom. And in that list, I'm gonna cycle through it so you can hear the options.
Pause button. Share button. Unsubscribe button.
So unsubscribe does not mean it removes it. Unsubscribe means you don't get new episodes. What you want to do is go down and delete from library. And that's where that's got to make sure you do that, because that caught me a few times before.
Settings button. Play next button. Delete from library. Button.
Delete from library. You do that, then you're done.
Alert. Delete Eyes on Success with host Peter and Nancy Torpy from library. Delete from library button.
So it's giving me a confirmation, because what it'll do is it cleans up all the episodes you've listened to. It cleans them all up.
Manny,
Yeah.
how about the episodes? Do they stay there, or do you, after
No.
you've listened to it, do you need to delete it?
Well, it's really up to you. You could go in one by one and do it. You know, I have to look into that to give you the best answer. Even though they do take up space, if your phone is pretty big, 64 gigs, you're probably never going to use the space. But if you're trying to manage space, yeah, I think you can go in one at a time and delete them, or you can delete them in mass. But I don't
Can you
remember
look-
how to do.
Can you look at that? Because once I've listened to it, most of the time, I never want to go back. But I don't want
Okay.
them sitting there forever.
Let me look into that, because there might be another setting that says maybe don't store them at all on the phone. I've never gone into podcasts real deep and drilled into the minutia of the settings and whatnot. But that's a good question. I think I need to answer for myself too. I'd like to figure out how to do that. So thank you for that.
Can you save an episode you like?
Yeah, it gets downloaded to your phone. So it automatically right now saves it onto your phone.
Okay, it saves every episode, or
Well, every episode you've listened to. So if you skipped episodes, those don't get put in your library. Only the ones you've listened to.
But I don't want them to stay there.
That's right. That's right. And I understand that completely. And I'm gonna find that out. I will get
Okay,
that.
good.
Yeah. So there's podcasts. That's basically it. And I'm only showing you on all these apps. I'm just showing you a very cursory, very basic way to use them.
Pinterest. Pinterest.
Go in there into each app and start using it. There's a world of complexity you can unravel and customize for yourself. I'm only just introducing it to you and trying to get just a basic knowledge of how these apps work. That's kind of what I was doing there.
Can we go to the Zoom app and teach people how to get the
Zoom.
chat box?
Okay, so I'm still pretty new to Zoom, but they're not doing anything different than the guys before them were doing, like GoToMeeting and Microsoft Teams and things like that. They all do the same thing. So you don't need Zoom to join a Zoom meeting, as you well know. But I use the app because there's settings in the app that help with video and audio, at least from my perspective. And if you create an account with them, you get a free option where you can have up to 100 people in a meeting for up to 40 minutes. So you can play around with it without having it cost you any money. That's the sign up option for Zoom. So the way Zoom works is you get into a meeting, you can join it, or if you're somebody who owns an account, you can be the host of the meeting and other people can join your meeting. And at the bottom of the screen, let me bring up a Zoom because I have the app on my phone, so I can go through each thing at the bottom and we can discover that. So let me go in here.
8:11 p.m.
Hey Siri.
Calendar.
Open Zoom.
Calendar, February 2021, back button.
My phone's acting up. Hang on. Hey Siri. Open Zoom. All right. So I'm going to create a fake meeting and go into it so you can see what the controls are.
Meeting, button. Cancel. Start a meeting, button. Waiting. Start a meeting.
All right.
Alert. Check your others. Check your others. Please join audio. Call using internet audio. Button. Cancel. Button. Call using internet. Button. You are using the device audio.
Okay. Are you guys there? Okay.
We're here.
So at the bottom of the screen in Zoom, so Zoom is divided into 3 parts. You have a top bar, okay, and then you got a middle part that has your video, and then you have a bottom bar. So to explain how the screen's laid out, the very top is, hold on.
Displaying Manny Salas's video. Switch camera. Button. Speaker off. Button. Switch camera. You are using enhanced.
So at the top you have audio and video options, meaning you can reverse the camera, the one that's facing you, to facing away from you if you want to show everybody something in your home or wherever you're at. You can turn audio on or off. You can mute.
Zoom. Button.
And then
Meeting information. Button.
you can see the meeting information. Now there's a drop down. I guess that's where you can see all the participants and things of that nature. And at the very top on the right is the end. Okay. The ones you're going to use the most are at the bottom of the screen. And these options are, you can mute audio, which is the very first one on the left side at the bottom. And as I go right, we're going to hear each one.
Stop my video. Button.
Stop your video. So let's say you don't want to be on video anymore. You can double tap that and it'll stop broadcasting your video.
Share content. Button.
Now share content, that's more of a visual thing, but we'll go over it real quick. So if you wanted to share a file or whatever it is, a PDF file or a doc file, or if you want to share like a music file or anything of that nature, you can use this to share it, and people have access to that share. I think there's also a thing where you can put up a whiteboard where you and the others in the meeting can then doodle on the whiteboard. Let's say someone writes, "What do you think about this?" And then Barbara will go, "Oh yeah, that looks okay." But that's a very visual thing, and that's kind of used for business meeting. Okay, so you're probably not going to do much in this particular option. And then the next one, you can see the list of participants in your meeting. There, it'll just give you a list. Then there's a more button, and that's where a lot of stuff sits too. So we hit the more button.
Raise hand.
That's where you can raise your hand. Let's see what else we got here.
Security. Button.
We don't care about security right now.
Chat. Button.
You can chat with somebody or a group of people while the meeting's going. You can have a separate conversation during the meeting by chatting back and forth. And let's see.
Meeting settings. Button.
Is this the Zoom app?
Yes, Zoom app. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Button. Background and filters. Button.
So background and filters, that's a visual thing too. If you're against a solid background, what Zoom allows you to do, like let's say you're against a white wall, okay, and you want to put like the beach behind you. If you got a picture of the beach or something like that, you can tell Zoom to insert that picture into the white areas behind you, and you will be in front of the picture, and the picture will be behind you. It's a very visual thing. I doubt if we'll be using it that much, but it's a pretty nice little thing, you know. And that's basically what. There's other things too. Let me see.
Disconnect audio. Button.
You can disconnect audio here.
Clapping hands emoji. Button.
You can send emojis out, clapping hands, and there's some other ones.
Thumbs up emoji.
Thumbs up, you know, and the whole 9 yards there.
So can you send a message to everyone in the chat box?
Well, I have to go to my computer, the one I'm looking at here. I can try that. Let me see. So let me get to my computer. I'm going to look very big in the frame because I'm getting closer to my computer, which is actually doing the Zoom meeting. Let's see.
So on the
Um,
computer, it's Shift Tab to get into.
Is it really?
It's
Okay.
Alt H and then it's Shift Tab to get into the chat box.
Boy, someone's been doing her homework. Let's see. So let me see here. I'm not familiar with that here. Let me just see if I've got another way. Again, I'm still pretty new with this software. Let me see, there's something down here. Hang on a second. Let me just try that out.
Are
Okay.
you doing on the phone, Manny?
No, I'm doing the Zoom meeting on my computer. I was showing you guys on the phone. So there's on the computer, there's a little chat icon at the very bottom. So I'm going to click on that. And then I don't know what happens next, but we'll see. Let me. Okay, I'm still looking at it. I'm going to need to practice this more because I just don't really know how to do it well.
Okay.
I thought there was a chat thing here, but I'm just trying to see.
I think it's a whole lot easier on the phone.
It probably is, and I'm using the phone as a demo device, and I'm not doing the meeting on the phone. It's kind of separate. So on the computer, it's a little bit different than the phone. It's unfortunately. So
right.
I'm at a loss to get it to work, but I'll look at that for next time.
Somebody just sent us a message.
All right. So I think that's about all I got for tonight. I mean, unless there's something else that somebody wants, somebody wants.
My head is full.
Mine's exploding.
All right, we've got a lot of people on here. Lupita, do you want to say anything?
I was just gonna make one quick suggestion, and it didn't even have to. But there's an app called VO Calendar that I find a little bit easier to use than the regular calendar. That's not to say the regular calendar isn't good. It's just I personally like it. It's the VO stands for voiceover.
What was the name of that?
It's called VO Calendar.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
it. Hi, Manny. Great job as always.
Oh, thank you. And Lupita, thanks for that VO calendar thing. I've heard good things about that. But I haven't tried it myself, but I think it's probably a very good product.
What apps do you recommend for maps or traveling? Whatever.
Well, I don't do traveling, but I thought the Google Maps was pretty good. Apple's come a long way since they had their debacle a long time ago. But I think either one will probably be okay. Apple Maps or Google Maps,
So is Apple Maps, you just ask Siri, give me directions to.
That's right. That's right. That's a built-in GPS and a mapping system built into your phone already.
What is on our phone?
You have what do they call that? Is it Apple Maps? I'm not sure what they call that thing. Let me see here.
So you could just ask Siri, what are the directions to go to Walmart, and she'll give you either driving or walking directions.
That's right. That's right.
Meeting to call everyone.
Yeah, I just learned that this morning.
Audio collapse.
Yeah, I would use Siri because you don't have to interface with it, and then it'll give you step-by-step directions, like turn left in 50 feet, that kind of stuff. And you can ask for specialized walking directions too, where if you're walking, it makes it optimized for people who are walking to a destination, a car. So.
Okay, Shirley, what do you think?
I like it. He did a very good job.
Well, thank you.
If you guys
Okay,
are done, I'll
Gina.
cut the recording.
What do you think, Gina? I'm not hearing Gina.
If you guys are finished, I can cut the recording.
Yeah, we're done. We're done, John.
All right, thanks, Manny.
Okay,
Thank you.
I was
Thanks,
on-
Very
John.
good.
I was
I-
on mute. That was great. Thank you, Manny.
Oh, you're